take you now to Canberra, where the Finance Minister Mathias Cormann is speaking about those changes to superannuation announced yesterday.
Good morning.
You've removed the mining tax as promised, but you're still left with an unfunded liability of over $6 billion. The school kids bonus, for instance, will still be paid to families earning under $100,000. Is that correct?
Well, we've removed the mining tax and we've removed all of the unfunded promises that were attached to it, which we said we would remove. We've removed 3 of those measures later than we would have liked, including the school kids bonus. That does come at an expense of $6.5 billion over the forward estimates. It also means that we're locking in more than $10 billion in savings now and about $50 billion in savings over the next decade, and the $6.5 billion in additional expense over the forward estimates we are recovering by the end of 2023 through the changes that we've made to compulsory superannuation.
Sure, but for the moment that's an unfunded liability, isn't it? It's still $6.5 billion that you didn't think you were going to have to fund.
Well, we've locked in more than $10 billion in savings. The alternative was no savings, and the mining tax continuing to hold Australia back, preventing us from attracting more investments and creating more jobs. We focused on achieving the best deal that we could in the national interest.
Now, you blame the Labor Party for having to make these compromises, but in effect you've done a deal with the Palmer United Party.
Well, supported by the Family First Party, the Liberal Democrats, and indeed also the Motoring Enthusiasts Party, and Senator Madigan from the Democratic Labor Party also supported us resolving this issue yesterday.
Okay, but why not work with the Labor Party, for instance? The BHP profit rose 23% over the last year, more than $14 billion. Why not make that tax more efficient? The Labor Party would have supported that.
Well, we went to the last election very clearly making the commitment that we would get rid of the mining tax. The mining tax was always a bad tax. It targeted an important industry for Australia. It targeted an industry that we need to continue to be strong and stronger into the future in order to build a stronger, more prosperous economy.
But by your compromise, you're giving you're taking the tax away from the mining companies and penalising people who earn less money.
Well, just remember that this is a tax which the Labor Party said would raise many billions of dollars. It is actually costing the budget billions of dollars. Only the Labor Party can be so bad to come up with a new tax that leaves the budget billions and billions of dollars worse off. What we've done yesterday is scrap the mining tax to help build a stronger economy, and we've also scrapped the unfunded promises Labor attached to it in order to repair the budget mess that we've inherited from the Labor Party.
This deal will cost somebody who's 30, for instance, and earning $100,000 a year, almost $40,000 in retirement income. Now, you said, as a government, as an opposition before the election, that there would be no adverse changes to superannuation in this term. That person would see this as a broken promise, and they'd be right, wouldn't they?
Well, no, they would not be right, because this is not an adverse change to superannuation. What we've done yesterday is...
for somebody who's earning less than $100,000.
I think you're making some assumptions here, Michael, because the truth is increases in compulsory super savings don't come out of thin air. They come out of people's own pockets. They come out of workers' wages. Don't take my word for it. That is what Bill Shorten used to say when he was the Minister for Financial Services and Superannuation. What we've done is we have ensured that people have more of their own money available to them pre-retirement, so that they can use it to deal with cost of living expenses, or they can use it to pay off their mortgage faster, or they can use it to save more through superannuation voluntarily.
If you prosecute that argument, though, why have any superannuation liability? Why have superannuation at all?
Well, we support superannuation, and we also support compulsory super continuing to go up to 12% by 2025. What we've done is put it on a more realistic trajectory, given the additional costs that you've pointed out are the result of the amendments that were passed by the Senate yesterday.
Okay, well, Clive Palmer's got a good deal, hasn't he? I mean, he doesn't pay the mining tax, and he now doesn't have to pay his superannuation liability increases to his employees.
Nobody across Australia at the end of the day paid the mining tax, because we were told in year one it would raise $4 billion. In prepayments it raised $200 million, 95% less than Wayne Swan told us. And even that $200 million is being refunded because of the dodgy deal that Julia Gillard and Wayne Swan did in the shadow of the 2010 election. This was always a bad tax. It was bad for our reputation internationally. It was bad when it comes to attracting investments, and it was costing jobs. So what we've done, boosting economic growth, boosting jobs, is actually good for government revenue in the final analysis as well.
Finance Minister Mathias Cormann speaking there to Michael Brissenden on AM.